I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome to the Lee Board of Selectmen, March 7th. And our first order of business today, we have open session minutes from our meeting February 21st.
I'll make a motion that we accept the open session meetings of February 21st.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Next order of business, we have a public hearing today. So I'm wondering if we have somebody here from Cafe Triskelly? Would you like to just come and let us know what you're sort of asking for everybody's benefit?
Yeah, so during COVID, the previous owners had an expanded patio area on the left side of the building. That was covered under the ABCC license, and that expires. So we're just looking to make sure that area is covered under our current license.
Right. So this is an alteration of the premises to accommodate that outdoor seating, right? That's
Yeah.
what the application here in front of us I see. So we have payment of and financial statements. Looks like there's a floor plan included. Is there anything else?
No, it's been
Pretty
used
straightforward.
the last 2 years, so nothing's really changed with
I
that.
think we had one other change of alteration of premises for something similar come in a couple, 2 or 3 months ago.
COVID allowed
Yeah.
for those without the formal change, but that's expired, so.
So I'll open it up to the board for any comment first.
So, if I may, Mr. Chairman, so there's no actual alteration of the premise, you're not making physical changes to anything? Okay.
And where would, I have your floor plan here. So this would be sort of out front, are you?
It's just to the left of the building, so along the side.
Okay, so if you're on the street looking at the building off
It's
to the
on the
left.
left-hand side, yeah.
I gotcha.
And it's not covered, so it's typically the last choice for outdoor dining.
How many seats?
It's picnic tables, so it varies, but about
Yeah.
25.
It can
at the
accommodate
most.
max 25.
Yeah.
Bob, anything further? Or?
No, just for the people who are at home, the current license, just to read out, it covers the first floor, seating area, a bar, 3 dining rooms, 1 storage area, an an outside covered terrace with 8 tables, seating for 24, and they want to add a side patio with 5 tables, seating for 20. That's what's in front of us, so if anybody's at home, they know what we're talking about, but I don't have a problem with this. It seems like we've not had any issues so far with it, as far as the liquor license and whatnot go. So, if you're looking for a motion, I'd make a motion that we approve the alteration of premise for D&G Hospitality, LLC, doing business as Cafe Triskel at 150 Main Street.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion and a second, but before we vote, if there's anybody in the public who'd like to comment or ask a question, I'll be in a public hearing. I don't see anybody jumping up, so you can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
Vote?
yeah, if there's no further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Yep.
And good luck. Next, we have a public comment. So if there's anybody who wants to be recognized for a public comment, please come forward. Just let everybody know who you are.
I'm traveling incognito tonight. I'm Kathy Hall, the Lee Youth Commission Chairwoman. The Lee Youth Commission was only able to have one night activity at the Lee Athletic Field during February school vacation because of the very cold weather. Anything below 32 degrees is dangerous for outdoor play. Nonetheless, we would like to add to our list of thank you shout-outs from the last meeting to Mike Kelly from Kelly's Funeral Home for lending us their heater. We would also like to thank the DPW for clearing the driveway to the park. On another note, the Lee Youth Commission was given the okay from the Lee Conservation Commission to explore the possibility of a drainage solution at the pavilion at the athletic field. We'll give updates whenever they're available. And one more thing, and more importantly, the Lee Youth Commission needs at least 2 new members. We meet once a month on the second Wednesday of the month for 1 hour to discuss our parks and possible activities during spring, summer, and winter. Please feel free to join us at our meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. on the second floor of the town hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else with public comment before we move on? I don't have anybody on Zoom either, so.
Okay, nobody?
All right, we'll move on to general business. Our first order, we have a few appointments here, so maybe we can take these one at a time or by group. There's like 4 there, so.
You have a 4th?
There's 2, it looks like 2 for the Greener Gate.
Gotcha. I see, yeah.
So,
Why don't we just do them together
Sure.
unless there's a problem? That way we have people waiting, we can get them up here quicker,
yeah.
more quickly.
Yeah, so I'll entertain a motion for approvals of the appointments as follows. To the Community Preservation Act, Lori Kropakowski. Sorry, I butchered that. Greener Gateway Committee, James and Christine Schwarz. And the Board of Registrars, Sheila Bialy.
I'll make a motion that we approve those appointments for all 4.
I'll second that.
If there's any further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Brings us to the, we have an ARPA request from the Lee Youth Association. It's my understanding that we have some ARPA funds left, and the LYA is asking for $50,000 for the purposes of buying land or facility, right? Do we have somebody who wants to?
Representatives here, Sharon, Andrew.
Actually, we'd like to use the funds for professional services, and I just printed this up for you to kind of detail what we were looking at. It's a little gray, like, until we get into it, what the professional services would be, but I think this is, I spoke with someone from SK Design and Berkshire Design today. So this is what we had talked about. And the 50,000 would only be like the first couple here, because after that, I think it would. But it would just be to do a conceptual site plan initially, and then an official site plan would eat up about half of that, they anticipate, and then a design. I talked to Berkshire Design today. They've already done a conceptual design for us, and then it would move into a schematic design and further down the road, but it's gonna, then, by then we will be looking for other money, so. But these are some ideas of what we would like to use that for.
Great, yeah. So it's sort of designing and conceptualizing a facility, some sort of facility?
Correct.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, you do so, the Lee Youth Association in general does so much for our kids and also employs a lot of people throughout the year. And
Right.
I think it's a good use of the monies to help you deal with the situation that you're in.
Presently, yeah.
We have about 80,000 left.
Right.
I would recommend after that the board approve this and then reserve the rest until we, the ARPA money is completed, so.
What's the drop dead date on the use?
So right now, we're looking at the end of the calendar year 23, so
okay.
that would give us about 30,000 in, as a contingency on some other projects, and then not look at any other appropriations until that's done, so.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any problem with that.
Me neither. I entertain a motion to approve the ARPA fund requests by the OAA.
I would make that motion.
I'll second it.
If there's no further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very
There
much.
you go.
We
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. See you later.
Next order of business, we have a one-day wine and malt liquor license for the St. Mary's Church. And this is St. Patrick's Day dinner. Is there anybody from the St. Mary, do we have an applicant here for this? Don't see anybody.
Nope, doesn't look like it. I think this is something they do, they do probably year after year
Yeah.
as a fundraiser.
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for the one-day alcoholic beverage license for St. Mary's for the St. Patrick's Day.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have another one-day wine and malt liquor license for Chief Rusa Scholarship Foundation. Do we have somebody who wants to come up
Here
and
tonight.
Well
say
represented.
something, please?
So, a few months ago, Jen and a group of us started the Chief Rusa Scholarship Foundation. Jen Rusa, Jen Carlino, Lori Curtin, we are on the board for that foundation. And then, as a collective group, we came up with an idea of a way to make sure we have money in the scholarship fund to keep it going while also doing something that would honor something that Jeff loved. And so, bands and music and getting people together was something that he was a big fan of, and in his later days he did the big Arrest and Extinguish ALS, the fundraiser up at Tanglewood, and so we were kind of trying to pull together an idea of something that would bring all those ideas together, and then Jen came up with the idea of doing Jeff Jam. So you can explain a little bit further what our request is.
Yeah, so we just wanted, we wanted to be able to have the, like, down at the park, is it by the gazebo there, in between, like, that,
The parking area over here?
yeah, sort of like where
Yeah.
The
the,
Raleigh building.
right, right. And we were gonna have just a trailer down there for I think we have 4 bands playing, each for about an hour. So it's just 12 to 4, and then we were just gonna have, sell beer. And that's basically, beer and donations is our only source of raising money. We're not selling tickets to it, so
Okay.
anyone can come. They just have to purchase the alcohol, and if they want to make donations. We are going to sell some merchandise. Yes, to some shirts
Great.
and such. And then I think the idea of having the road closed is for safety purposes from a small area of it. And we know we'd have to have police officers there to make sure everyone stays on premise with that. And then we also did talk to the people who own the Price Chopper building, and they would be willing to let us use that for parking, and so people can
Nice.
walk as long as we put them on our insurance, which is being taken care of.
Great.
No, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. I wondered when I read this about whether you were selling tickets or not, when you were estimating people, it's like, how do we go about that? But okay, that's cool, we can just walk there.
Yeah, just, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So that's May 28th? Is that what I'm reading?
Yes, this is Sunday.
Sunday, okay, all right.
Great.
No, I don't know, I think it's a great idea.
I'll make a motion that we approve the one-day alcoholic beverage license for the Chief Rusa Scholarship Foundation.
I will second that.
We also have, there's the entertainment
Yep,
permit as well, so maybe we can vote on them together, or does that
it's fine with me, sure.
amend
You
your
wanna amend,
motion to
Yeah,
include the entertainment?
for the one-day alcoholic beverage license and the entertainment license for that date for the Chief Rusa Scholarship Foundation.
I'll be happy to second that.
If there's no further discussion, hearing none, All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
You're on your way.
Thank you.
Wish you the best
Okay,
of
you're
luck.
welcome.
Was there a land
Yeah,
use in there
yes.
as well?
there's a question about,
Oh, permission to use
Yeah.
town
Yes.
property.
So would it-
I wondered about that.
the,
Okay.
the entire parking lot, right, of, by the Araldi, between the Araldi building and the post office, and closure of Frank B. Consolati Way, but I wasn't
At the
clear
far-
about.
Maybe from Railroad Street down?
Right, yeah, so I guess starting at,
So they can walk.
the auto parts store down.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wasn't sure about Railroad, was there any closure on Railroad, or would
I
that
mean, any
be?
railroad. Railroad's Dresser Hall. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dresser Hall.
And also, I think some of the parking in the upper area there may go with the housing. So
Oh,
I don't
for
know,
high
we may
place, yeah.
need to leave like 10 spaces
Access, yeah.
open right against Railroad Street. Maybe we can create a barrier there.
Yeah.
But if most of the people are parking at Price
Price
Chopper and
Chopper.
walking over,
Yeah.
it
Yes,
shouldn't
that's not
affect Railroad Street too much. So
Right.
it'll be all right.
Maybe you can advertise it that way, if you get out advertising on parking in there and walk
Yeah.
on over or something like that. Give them the heads up.
We can do that for sure.
Sounds great. All right, so do we need a vote to approve?
Yeah,
that?
under the new special act that
No
goes to you
problem.
guys, so.
I'd make a motion that we allow them to use town property around the gazebo area and with exact perimeters to be determined with discussions with the police chief as for the needs of
Yeah.
the event.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion on the land use? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anything else that we can help you with? No?
Now you are on your way.
Thank you so much.
Good enough. All right.
Okay, so the next order of business, we have road tolls. So is this the actual drawing? Do we have,
Oh, they drew somehow, I don't know.
Yeah, so, feel
Or
free to
was
jump in,
it
Sabrina,
just-
but if I'm missing anything, but we had, let's see, 7 spots and 8 applications.
Aha.
So there was a drawing.
Good.
And so we have April 15th, Sons and Daughters of Italy, May 6th, HRI, May 20th, Knights of Columbus, May 27th, VFW, which is always done on Memorial Day. Softball Booster Club on June 3rd, Lions on June 17th, girls volleyball on the 23rd, and the golf team on the 28th of October. And the one that didn't get drawn, unfortunately, was Troop 3, but that will give them their first choice next year automatically.
So they can pick the date.
They'll
too,
get the,
Other than Memorial.
they're a guaranteed spot,
Yeah.
except for in their choice next year.
Okay.
So,
great. Yeah, so the toll stop is a great fundraising tool. So I guess I'm looking for a motion for approval of those road tolls.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8 dates and the designated parties for road tolls for 2023.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right. Our next order of business, we have, we're coming up on our 250th anniversary. Bill, I know you want, as part of the Historical Society, wanted to make everybody aware and
Right,
probably have
thank
some
you.
things to say about it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Bill Matthews, currently president of the Lee Historical Society. Thank you for this opportunity to speak briefly about an important upcoming historical event. First, let me clarify a point that I'm sure the Select Board understands, but is often the source of confusion for the public. The Lee Historical Society is an independent nonprofit entity, quite separate from town government, supported largely by membership dues, while the Lee Historical Commission is part of town government funded by taxpayer dollars. These two entities share similar goals: especially regarding preservation of the town's historic qualities, but operate through very different means, either cooperating or complementing each other's activities. The upcoming historical event that the Society has begun to focus on is the 250th anniversary of Lee's founding, which the town will celebrate 4 years from now in 2027. The Society wants to coordinate its efforts with similar interests in the town government's boards and committees, private sector businesses, and local residents. We especially want to engage with young families who might not fully recognize the enduring positive values historically ingrained in this community. We truly have many strengths to celebrate, as revealed in the recent master plan public exercise. That same exercise breakout session consistently identified the EPA dump as our greatest threat, the elephant in the room. I might speculate, perhaps tongue-in-cheek, that the EPA considers the dump a superb example of environmental mitigation and will fit well with the town's hazard mitigation plans. If so, a robust celebration of our 250th anniversary will be a potent antidote. In sum, the Lee Historical Society is eager to help devise an anniversary gala worthy of showcasing our unique qualities as the genuine gateway to the Berkshires. We welcome anyone who wants to join us in making this endeavor a success. In spite of the electronic tilt of modern communications, the best way of contacting us is by mail at Post Office Box 170. That's 170 here in Lee, 01238. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah. So that concludes our general business for the evening, unless you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about, bring up.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just today was my first meeting with the CDC. It was quite interesting. It lasted a bit, and even though they aren't actively pursuing sales of lots in the Quarry Hill Business Park, there are still things that need to be done to finalize that. So they discussed, where they're going to go and how they're going to get to the point where the CDC will no longer be involved. There's some land transfers of some non-saleable lots. So that was the biggest thing I got out of it. They also voted, they considered it their 2022 annual meeting because they missed it. And they'll be having another meeting, I think in June. It was decided in May or June. I think it was May or June. And it'll be posted on the town's website for election of officers for next year and whatnot. So we had quite a good, robust discussion about jobs, and being able to bring jobs to the town and how that's going to happen. And part of the problem is there's no big tracts of land anymore to be able to work with, really, that's available for commercial development for jobs, other than the downtown. We did discuss different ideas if we go forward with a fire and police public safety building. There were discussions of possibly, I haven't talked to the chief, but this just came up today, about somehow using that combined lot on Main Street with the fire department, with the firehouse, and once the EMS building's gone, seeing if that could be even used for community Not that they're involved in the community, space, but something with that, including LYA, they thought that would be a good mix, but maybe that won't work because they're already down a different path. But also, what they're interested in is possibly looking at the Araldi, the town building, Araldi, Bullseye Pub, parking lot, Quonset Hut, that whole area for some type of downtown development. And I think they'd be interested in talking with the town at some point about how that could go forward if it could, and, timelines for that. So that's kind of what I got out of the meeting today. But I'm sure we'll get minutes once they're developed.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being there, Gordon.
Yeah, I think that Araldi building area is a great opportunity for something. Not sure what yet, but
No, I get it.
Yeah.
But,
that could be it though.
well, I did mention a mix of perhaps commercial, office, that type of thing with residential on upper floors, which,
Yeah.
because of the walking downtown area issue and whatnot. And they're also concerned about development on the north end of town where the Eagle Mill is. So they were talking about issues up there too, but, all this was just, sort of just talking, kind of getting a feel. That was my first meeting, so I had a lot of catching up and listening to do.
Great. Yeah, speaking of the Eagle Mill, I think we made this public again, but they're slated to get in and start demolition, right, this month, I believe, so.
Yeah, yep, should be
They
looking
got all their
at spring
funding.
demolition and on the houses along East Center Street, as well as starting West Center Street, as well as starting the mill reconstruction in June or July, so.
Yeah, great.
The funding, is
The funding
official
has
now
been
from
approved.
Housing and Community Development.
So, they got no more excuses.
Oh, don't say that.
That's true.
There's always something. Mr. Chairman, if I could, would it be, I don't know, I guess appropriate doesn't really matter, and maybe it's appropriate or maybe it doesn't, but to maybe reach out or have Chris reach out to the developer contractor to see if when they take all those buildings down, if there's any reusable issues, like any newer windows, any newer issues inside stuff that perhaps they could separate them, segregate them, and get them up to the restore in Pittsfield so that they can be reused and not just totally trashed. I know it's quicker and easier to take a backhoe in there or draw it in and just smash it all, but, if somebody had the chance to make an evaluation, it might be a good thing to do to get some of the better issues inside. Maybe somebody renovated part of their house lately and there's new doors or bathrooms or kitchens.
Yeah, there's always,
Something
reclaimed.
they could do.
And there has been some discussions about that already in some preliminary meetings, when I was up there with the building commissioner and so forth, that they were looking to recycle as much of that as possible.
I hope so.
I wonder if
They could use it.
Is there any sort of program or, developers that come in and, take certain, I just wonder if there's,
Yeah, I think that was, they had, it was a while ago, so
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
remember the exact details, but there was definitely talk about a couple different places that would come in to take some of those products and how they would try to recycle, especially then you got like the copper and things like that in it.
right?
Yeah, that's different,
Metals and-
But
I was thinking reusable. I know there's an
I
outfit
can
down.
follow up with them for some more details and bring it back to you guys, so.
Great,
Thanks.
There was definitely discussion about it though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
great. Chris, you're up next, Town Administrator Report.
Yeah, so a couple updates. First off, we are all set for Babytown meeting on April 13th. That's confirmed with the school, so it is on the website on the red banner at the top. There's no specific, and there's no draft warrant or anything on there yet, of course, but the dates are posted. From 6 o'clock to 7, there'll be sort of an introduction to open town meeting. Anybody can come and learn more about the town meeting process, and then from 7 till whenever it's done, we'll do an informal discussion of each warrant article as we typically do for a baby town meeting. We continue to post the board openings online. We did add some more details to some of the descriptions as well, so that's right up on the main page of the website. There's information with all the different committee descriptions, which committees are looking for members, and also a board and committee guide on meetings there as well, all linked on that. Tomorrow in this room, there'll be an informational session at 7 o'clock on our municipal vulnerability preparedness plan. So that's open to anybody. It'll be here again in the courtroom tomorrow at 7. And then coming up on March 22nd, I wanted to mention the CPC, our new Community Preservation Committee, will be having their first hearing. That'll be on March 22nd, also in this room at 7 p.m. And they'll be kind of going over, they'll be doing a small presentation on what Community Preservation Act is, what the money can be used for, and then time, for suggestions and questions about it as they prepare the CPA plan for the town. The idea being that next for FY '25, so kind of next year at this time, they'll be taking applications to do their first round of funding.
So is this more an informational meeting, or you said a hearing?
Yeah, so legally they have to hold one meeting a year, yeah. So this will be as a hearing, yeah. So it is posted in the newspaper as a hearing. They will start off with, again, just some general information and then get public input on what sort of things, as they develop their plan, what sort of things the town would like to see in that. And then the applications are judged based on that plan that they're doing. So hopefully next winter, the idea is that they'll have applications available for CPA funding. So, and that at the town meeting in 2024, there'll be warrant articles to appropriate that money. So right now, they're just putting the money into the 3 categories as required by law. So by that time, we're hoping there'll be, maybe 600,000 or give or take in there to start with. So the last thing, which was not on the agenda, but I just found out yesterday, and some good news to share with everyone, that the town of Lee was officially approved as a Appalachian Trail community. So
great.
The committee's now working for a ceremony to do that. Hopefully this spring we'll have more information as we get closer, but that designation comes with some official ceremonies that we'll have for that. So good news on that.
Good. Great.
Well, if there's nothing further,
Mr. Chair, can I make, I know, sorry about this.
Please, yeah.
I'll try and be brief. Extremely disappointed that we haven't anybody come forward on the Cable Advisory Committee yet, and there's 3 seats open, and I'm going to try and make the next meeting just to sit in. I think it's at Lennox Town Hall or Great Barrington. I forget, I was looking on the website today about the next meeting. If worse comes to worse, which I'd rather not, but I would volunteer to be on that, just to have a presence from Lee, but I don't officially, I'm not asking to be appointed, or anything like that tonight, but I want to go to that. I did actually go online and Zoom the negotiation that they just held a few days ago. I think it might have been Monday night, but anyway, no, it was last Friday, I think. Anyway, I just listened to how that went. That's a subgroup that does the negotiating. I found it to be quite fascinating. The guys know what they're talking about. It's really good. They've been there a long time. But I think I may just go and sit in on the major group meeting just to see what it's like. I'll still try and drum up business or see if I can get somebody to get appointed. But anyway, I just thought I'd give you the heads up that I'll go and I'll report back.
How often do they meet?
I don't know, not real often.
Right now is more than usual because of the negotiations. So this is, their busiest time. But
yeah, I think there's like once a month for the next 2 months at least. That's as far out as I looked.
Okay.
So it's like, I'll go sit in the meeting. I don't know that I'll have anything to say.
I'll put out feelers too.
That'd be great.
Actively do that.
Okay, thank you. All right, that was all. I just wanted to let you know.
Bob?
Okay, nothing else.
Great. Sean? Oh, Kathy, I see a hand. Come on up. What do you?
Were you volunteering for the cable
you wanna be
committee
on the
too,
cable?
Kathy? Thank you, thank you.
Step down from 10 things.
Oh,
No,
gee.
2 things. Number 1, there's a posting for a meeting tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Is that open to the public? It's for,
That's right. Yeah, I was gonna,
oh,
yeah,
what's
there's a
his name?
Stockbridge Road.
Seth. Seth's gonna talk about the development, potential development of 300 Stockbridge Road. Is that open to the public?
That is a
or-
public meeting, yeah.
Okay, so that. And then secondly, you talked about, Mr. Bailey, you talked about the CDC and potential use of the fire company and the EMT building and all that. Several weeks ago, I talked to Chris about that potential. I just want to be transparent that, you know, we'd be interested for something like that for the community center. Chris pointed out that you'd need an elevator. There's some things and a sprinkling system and all that. So I talked to someone, an engineer, and said, yeah, you can put in a elevator system. And the one that this company had put in several years ago cost about $75,000 for that. So just looking at things from the outside, keep the outside structure, because it's absolutely beautiful, but inside to I don't want to say refurbish, but to renovate.
Yeah, repurpose it.
Different, use or whatever, could run like around $10 million. So it would be costly, but it certainly would be cost-effective in terms if you, had programs that you could bring in and offer some type of membership. The only thing that wouldn't be possible in that building, two things, a basketball court and no pool.
Well, I'm not thinking about staying within the confines of the current structure.
Right.
I'm thinking about actually, the EMS building's gotta go.
Right.
And then you have quite a lot.
Parking.
Well, and then this goes all the way down to Railroad Street, and
right.
there's other thoughts.
And then one
about
of the
this.
things that we had talked about in our Lee Youth Commission meeting was not to have an indoor pool, but an outdoor pool that would be available, types of things. So I just want people to know that we haven't given up on having some sort of a community center.
Right.
Even if it just centered around having a place where people could meet, whether it's the elderly that want to come down out of their building and into a different building, sometimes it's good to get out, or game boards or different types of things in there. And, you know, there's so much that could be there, and everybody's saying, well, if we had a central location. I don't think we get any more central than that.
Nope,
So
that's
just food for thought, and I want to be transparent, you know, because people are starting to think about, okay, what happens if we get this nice combined building? I'm also concerned because, I don't know, if Chris told me or somebody else told me, because I asked, well, where is this new building going to be? And they talked about 102 in front of the,
Yeah, you're talking about the public safety building.
right, yes. And it's going to be in front of the...
The wastewater.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And I'm like, okay, so what happens to a soccer field?
Right.
You know, because we
This is
are,
all part of it.
Yeah, we are aware of that reality, that there's.
so we worry about these things,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And the athletic field, I mean, they can use that, but sometimes, because it's in a floodplain, sometimes it's saturated, so you can't have a game down there.
Right.
So, you know, we're aware of all those types of things. So opportunities are there, but we need to move forward with stuff.
Yep.
There's
Okay,
been a
so
lot
just-
of great ideas about what could be done if we build the building, but without putting the cart before the horse, we
Yeah, right.
Right.
we need to make that building a reality
Right, before we do
can
anything else.
start looking at, you know, but
Right.
there's definitely a lot of great suggestions that we
Right.
could use
Right.
the space for
And
the
I would have
Uraldi
been-
as well as
I would have
the-
been remiss if I didn't put my 2 cents in about a community
Yeah, sure.
center.
Sure.
So I thank you, you know, for letting me speak. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks,
Kathy.
Kathy. Just reminder, thank you, Kathy, because tomorrow we are gonna sit down with, is it Seth, what's his last name?
Seth Jenkins, yeah.
Jenkins, BRPC, who did a feasibility study for 300.
Well, it's in progress.
It's in progress, right.
He's met with a bunch of boards so far. The select board will be next on his list, so. yeah.
And that's tomorrow at 4? Right?
4 o'clock,
So
yeah.
we'll be here in this room, yeah?
I believe
It's
so.
posted, I think it says Selectmen's meeting.
Yeah.
It says
Might be
Selectmen's
upstairs.
room.
So
I think it is,
Either way,
yes, it's
it's in
upstairs
town hall.
because
Yeah.
CPC is downstairs, that will be upstairs.
So we'll be upstairs.
Yeah.
We have, if you're interested, come on down, because we have a brand-new office set up. Just got painted and new carpets and everything, so, and then, yeah, the public safety building, we are working through that as well, so more to come on that. Anybody else?
There was one thing that Sabrina just brought up that we needed to do on the road tolls. We approved the road tolls, but with them, they have to have a temporary
Sign
sign.
permit.
And we just need a motion to waive all fees for the temporary signs for the road tolls, so.
Sure.
Otherwise, that carries a $35 fee, so.
I'll make a motion that we waive the fee, temporary
Thank you,
sign
Sabrina.
permit fees for each of the road toll events.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Sabrina. Okay, our next regular meeting is March 21st. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.